Alright guys, I got it to work. So, I'll start off with a continuation of the last video I posted. And so basically, the way I got this to work, and I'll explain why it's in my closet, but the way I got this to work, it's kind of hard to do with one hand. Okay, pop open the side. I haven't soldered anything yet, and I will eventually. This is literally got this to work, and then I just installed Ubuntu server 24 and stuff. So yeah, a lot of mess. Could be a lot neater, but again, this is just a proof of concept. I'm not gonna bother pulling out the power supply, but it's a Antec 550 watt power supply, ATX power supply. I hope I don't want the cables to get pinched. But yeah, and yeah, so I had to, so the actual plug is the same from the original, which here's the original power supply. I just cut it off, and there was this other additional power thing. I don't know what exactly it's called, but these two were essential for the motherboard. So I cut those off, and the pin layout was different on these. You know, this is just SATA, right? That's fine. And then this is this one is some different thing, but I cut up some other things, made an adapter. This was for the hard drives. There's some weird proprietary cables and stuff. So yeah, this thing's toast. It's very toasted. It was able to run some hard drives, so I'm still going to keep it around, and I don't know, it's giving out like 11 volts, so it's still useful for something, I guess, but it can't run this server. I guess, what would you call this, the backing plate? You can see it's not correct for the power supply, but it does hold it in, so I'm using it. So you can see where this plug is supposed to be here. So the power supply right now is actually upside down. I don't know if it's going to affect anything. It probably won't, but you know, there's this gap at the top. It is what it is. And I believe, where is it? Trying to remember. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this particular power supply has a fan on the bottom side, which is very problematic because, as you can see, there is no vent. Let me see. No, yeah, it's completely blocked. Or is it on top? I genuinely can't remember. Regardless, there is some slight gap. It might be the top. Whatever. It should be fine. Worst comes to worst, I'll cut out this bottom part. This is the motherboard fan, or this is like the CPU area. That was in the way. Yeah. So this part here. Is that a hole? I don't know. This part here, I'll have to cut out. Cut a hole or drill some holes or do something if the PSU overheating becomes an issue, but I haven't let it run for long enough to find out, so we'll see. Then yeah, so it works. I think this PSU is only, where does it say? Right here, 360. There's some different numbers, but we can round it up to like 400. The one that's in here right now is 550, so a bit overkill. But I mean, we're not using the current, even if there is a little bit of overhead extra cost, but whatever. It's what I could find. And probably what I will do is I will get a ATX power supply extension cord of some kind, if such a thing exists, and then I will cut that up and splice it into this setup, just because I want to be able to replace the power supply in the future again. But you know, whatever, this is a proof of concept. Here's the original. This is the proper ATX connector. And so yeah, so about the wiring, right? It's pretty simple. These so this is a ATX 24 pin, yeah, ATX 24 pin like power connector, and this is correct. The pin layout, the wiring is correct, and the colors are correct. So you can just look it up, right? ATX 24 pin wiring diagram or something like that, and you will find images and diagrams of what each of these mean. I'll explain them right now too. So orange is 3.3 volts, red is 5 volts, black is ground, yellow is 12 volts, and then yeah, that's it. And then the blue, your power supply may or may not have it. The blue is negative 12 volts, and I did not use that. So in this bundle here, the blue is just looped back. There's this random brown, which is not in the diagram, so it's something specific to this power supply. I also looped that back, didn't connect it, no effect. And then the purple, gray, and green, I forget what exactly they do, but it's like standby power and like power okay and like something else, and yeah. But regardless, the Dell motherboard has all the same colors. It has a purple, it has a gray, a green, then the red, black, orange, yellow, all of those. One small difference, I don't know about all other Dell servers, computers, I don't know. On this particular one, there is a white. You can actually see it right there. White is also 12 volts. I confirmed, I used a multimeter to confirm this, and also I'll put the other video in the description. I also had it in the description of my last video. So there's a video of someone else doing something similar, and they were explaining that white is 12 volts. And so other than this white cable oddity, everything else is the same, and you should just be able to, you know, splice everything, connect it all up, and it will work. Just make sure that you have enough wires. You know, you don't want any wires to melt, right? So make sure you have enough overall wire gauge. I don't know what the term would be, but you want to make sure there's enough wire for the current to flow through, especially when you're working with, like, you know, hundreds of watts. But yeah, and then this thing, I'm pretty sure that's from the factory. They had some of these like connector things for hard drives, so I just reused those and had to cut them up a little bit just because of the weird plugs for the power supply. But yeah, it's all 6 possible hard drives are plugged in. I don't have all the right hardware to mount them. So these are Dell Constellation 2 hard drives, server hard drives, enterprise drives. I have 4 of those. There's one in this enclosure, which is, you know, obviously much nicer, but I don't have enough screws to like properly hold this in, so it kind of sags, but it's held in on the other side. And then I don't have 3 more enclosures, so I just taped them for the time being, and they're not moving that much. Rubber bands. It's pretty janky. I need better, you know, mounting stuff. And these drives are a really weird form factor. They're 2.5 inch, but then they're really thick, as you can see. So it's really weird. And I have 2 more up here, if you can see. These are old CD drives that like either didn't work. One of these didn't work, and one of them was like IDE, so I didn't really care. And so I just gutted them, and then I'm just using them to be able to mount the drives in the CD drive slots up here, so that helps a lot. And they're also just taped in. You can kind of see the tape, but yeah. And then there's just 2 normal 3.5 inch drives, which I am willing to move. They have these nice things, like little trays that clip in, so that's nice. And I have 2 more of those, obviously, for up here and then down here. I'm not using them. And then yeah, all 6 drives are 1 terabyte each, which isn't, you know, I guess in this day and age it's not great, but they're all thrifted drives, so I'm not going to complain, right? So 6 terabytes total, which is, it's okay, right? So no SSDs, nothing like that, but there's a ton of PCIe potential, so I could probably, you know, get a card or something that can handle more hard drives, or maybe some other interesting things like SSD or something, right? Or a hardware RAID controller or something. I don't know. Just this, you know, see what happens. But yeah, that's about it. Hardware wise, and I am gonna run it now. So this is just the hardware stuff, and then it's on. And why is it in my closet in my room? It's really, really loud. Obviously, it's got this massive fan. It's super loud. So that's why it's in here. So it will be in here, and it won't be on for too long, so it shouldn't overheat. And then I can turn it on and you know, show you guys. Ubuntu Server 24. Oh, the RAM. RAM situation, I forgot. So RAM, there's only 2 sticks of. Okay, let me put the side panel. Okay, there's only 4 gigs in each of those sticks, and there's 6 slots, which is kind of weird, but you know, whatever. So it's ECC memory, I believe. So I think servers, I'm not too familiar with server hardware, so I think it's called ECC memory, some kind of special memory. So I have to get more of that, and preferably more than 8 gigs total. But just for seeing if it works, it's more than enough, right? So yeah, I can put the fan thing back. Massive side panel. We can slot. There we go. Alright. Oop. It's getting jammed on something. No, okay, whatever. I think that's just how it is. Okay. And then, yeah, we got a VGA. There's a serial port. I'm pretty sure that's a serial port. And then there's this other thing. Oops, let me get the camera on it. This angle. I don't know what this is. And on the motherboard inside, it seems like there's some optional hardware that was not installed. So I don't know what this is for right here. Looks like an SD card slot. I'm not sure. But there's no actual hardware inside for that. And there was like a little plastic piece. There was like some plastic piece covering this, but I took it off at some point, and I have to put it back. But yeah, 2 gigabit Ethernet ports. So I got Ethernet plugged in, and then keyboard power, right? All standard stuff. And yeah, okay. I'm gonna put the phone down. I'm gonna move it slightly so it's out of the door's way. The closet door. Okay, and then all right, we're gonna set. Turn the light off, and then okay. It's just all right. And the switch is on, right? Okay, switch is on. And I'll just keep it sort of open like this, and I'll turn it on, and then I can close it, just so you guys get an understanding of how loud it is. Okay. Right. Here is the gigabit switch. You guys have seen this in other of my other, like my server setup home lab video. I showed this, I think. So yeah, this black cable comes in from that same room, that same home lab room, and we're in my room right now. Okay, and then this blue cable goes to the server. So then, okay, and turn this on, and then the light is gonna flicker in the room for it. or not. I might have to cycle this. Turned it off. There we go. No? Okay. Or not. I have to reach to the front panel and turn it on. And where is... Found it. Alright. We are just going to close that door and let it boot, and hopefully the VGA cable... Oh, there we go. You guys might be able to hear it still revving. That's what I'll call it. Yeah, revving in the background. But yeah. Yep, here we go. Here's the stats. You guys can pause. It is a quad core. I don't think it showed on the screen, but the CPU is a Intel X. It's an Intel Xeon 3430. 3430, yeah. So, not really sure how good that is, but we can always change it. So now it should be booting. You guys can probably skip through this. It's going to be a black screen for, I don't know, good amount of time. I should probably just prop the phone up. There we go. Now it's booting, or at least showing stuff. At some point I'm gonna get a capture card, which would be way more preferable than this, but whatever. Kind of an awkward angle. Whatever. That's fine. And pretty soon. Oh, I was looking at my phone screen when I was setting it up. I didn't even notice. Okay. I didn't notice that it was in. Okay. 1, 2. Right. And yeah. Here we go. IPv4 is working. Earlier, when I installed, I had to reinstall because I forgot to, I guess it needed third-party drivers for Ethernet, and the Ethernet just did not work at all. So I had to reinstall with Ethernet already connected, so then it could search online for the drivers and stuff. So something like that. Yes. And yeah, so clear, and then we can do HTOP. And so yeah, you can see there's 4 cores, and there's 7.74 gigabytes of RAM, 4 gigs of swap, pretty standard. Not much going on right now. I haven't installed anything, but yeah, it works. So pretty satisfied. Home directory is empty, right? Yeah, it works. Hopefully that's visible on the screen. I think it's being cut off a little bit. Yeah, I mean the text is really small, but whatever. Yeah, I'm just typing commands and stuff. Oh. I don't know. I think it might just be this monitor, but I mean honestly, it's supposed to be headless anyways. I had the overall image was too far to the top left, so it was getting cut off. It's still getting cut off like really slightly, but it's a server, so the video output isn't supposed to be great, I guess. And then we can check if internet works, right? We can ping Google. Ping is okay. Right? But yeah. So I'm pretty excited, right? Works. Then yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what I can do with this. Um, and yeah, I'm super excited because it's like an actual server. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, any comments, literally anything. I know people were asking on my last video about how to do the wiring or something like that. Um, so yeah, if it wasn't clear enough, just comment. I'll try to help you guys out. And then yeah, so that's about it, right? So I think next order of action is definitely uh, like making that like adaptation, the power supply adaptation, more robust. Getting a riser cable or extension cable so that it's not like, because right now if that power supply dies, then I'd have to redo the whole thing all over again, like all the wiring, which would be kind of, that would suck. So I'll just make an adapter basically. And then, so that's one thing. And then number two is I actually have to solder the connections. And I mean, I made sure to like twist them pretty good. I've done like basic electrical stuff before, so I'm not really worried about that. But I should definitely solder it before I use this thing more. And oh, more RAM, obviously. I think that's also an immediate action item. But yeah, it works. I'm super happy. Really happy with the way it turned out so far. And yeah, that's about it. So I'll see you guys next time. Anticlimactic. Didn't shut down. Alright, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.